Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another session of Yoga Insights. So this evening's session will feature researcher, yoga therapist, and cyclist Agrima Nair. She was a doctoral student in molecular neuroscience at the Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology. But when she found her calling in yoga, she completed her master's in yoga therapy from the Manipal University. On the International Day of Yoga this year, on June 21st, 2022, the Kerala resident embarked on a solo bicycle expedition from Kochi to Ladakh, practicing and teaching yoga along the way. So in this session, Agrima will discuss why it is important to educate children, youngsters, and older people about the practice of yoga and how yogic practices and philosophy change our minds and lives. Thank you so much for joining us, Agrima. Would you like to join the session, please? Namaste. Thank you so much for being a part of Indica Yoga's Yoga Insights.
Namaskar. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to join you all. It's a great pleasure. Thank you so much for it.
Thank you. So I'm going to hand over this session to you now, and I'll see all of you towards the end when we have a round of Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'll start my session. So it's going to be very informal session. It's not like I am putting up a lot of presentations or something. I'm just going to show you a few of my images which I took during my journey. So I'll introduce myself first. Myself, Agrima Nair. Sophia has already spoken a lot about me. Thank you for that. So I was doing my PhD in molecular neuroscience. So I was suffering with a lot of ailments at that time. And one of my friends just called me and told like, Agrima, come, let's go and start practicing yoga. So I started practicing yoga for like around two and a half years almost. And then I thought like, I was a very sports student. I was a very sporty from my childhood, but I thought like, okay, there is something different in it. I don't know a detailed thing, nothing I knew about yoga at that time. So then I thought, okay, let's go and try it out. And that the thing which changed me a lot, the huge change in my life. So I was so amazed to know the things about yoga. Okay, let's see. And then I joined masters in yoga therapy, and I completed from Manipal University. And then I started roaming around, going places to places. I got to teach a lot of monks, a lot of different people from different community throughout India. I traveled at almost 18 states. And one day I decided, let's go from Kerala to Ladakh. And the main reason was I had a lot of friends, Buddhist monks from Ladakh, and they told me like, Agrima, come here, we will teach a lot of our monks. And I got an opportunity to join them as well. So I thought like, okay, I'll go there and be with them for a while, teach many of them. When I'm going, my target was like, at least if I'm able to, throughout my journey, if I'm able to teach or spread the awareness of yoga to at least 200 to 300 people, it is more than enough. But fortunately, I could meet around more than 2 lakhs people during my journey. And my journey started from Cochin on 21st June. That was on International Yoga Day. And I took almost 3 months and 10 days to reach Ladakh. It was on October. I reached October 1st, and I reached Ladakh. So I started on 21st from Cochin, taking my cycle. My brother helped me. A lot of my family members helped me. I told my parents that I'm going to join this kind of thing. I'm going to do this kind of thing. So initially my dad, he just kept silent. So I thought, okay, let's start it. He didn't say anything. And then he started supporting me. He and my my mother was so paranoid, like, you are on a journey. We are going to travel all alone. I don't know how everything is going to be. She was scared. And she used to update me all the time, like, where I am, at least in the night. If she's not getting my reply or something, where I am, she's so scared of the thing. But I was so cool. And I got too much of help from people around. And my main purpose was I could make awareness of yoga among the kids, especially. So I was able to meet a lot of kids on my way. So I would love to share my screen as well, so that I can show you few of my images where I met a lot of kids, a lot of people around. So my travel journey was from Kerala, Karnataka, Goa, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Delhi, and then Haryana, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, and finally to Ladakh. This journey was not that easy because one day I used to travel from morning till evening, sometimes from 10 to 14 hours. And but it was very interesting. On the other day, I used to attend a lot of schools, a lot of people. I used to teach yoga, or sometimes in the morning also I used to take classes. And I basically used to make people aware of it, like why do we practice yoga, especially for the kids, because now in next few years, after like in another 10 to 15 years, these are the people who are going to be physically, mentally, or psychologically, or spiritually, they will not be able to cope up with the normal world. So that was the biggest problem which I was facing as a therapist when I used to deal with kids or people around. So I thought, like, okay, let's make them aware first. And especially with the geriatric patient, they have a lot of problems with their health and they don't know how to resolve it. So my main focus was on these two categories. And people used to get too inspired. People used to give me too much energy, motivation throughout. And when I started my journey, I was not sure that how much people will accept me, like, doing this kind of things. I don't know whether they will be actually able to accept it and support me for all these things. But when I started with just informing them that I'm going, they were so excited. And people used to cry, people used to see me, and people used to tell me, like, oh, you are making our dream to come true. And I while looking at them, I used to feel like, how much they give me love. I stayed in different schools, I stayed in different hostels, I stayed with families where they used to cook for me. They used to get up early morning because I never had my dinner. So I used to only have breakfast and lunch. So people used to get up early morning. And when I get up and I see them cooking, I feel like, why do they need to do all these things? They used to pack me food, they used to give me in lunch. And whenever I visit kids, these kids used to be so excited. They always used to be like, Didi, how you do that, how you're doing it. And they are more curious about the cycling part. What happens when it is punctured? How do you maintain your sanitization? Where do you go for your toiletries? How do you do that? Where do you fix your accommodation? What do you eat? How do you manage? How do you take the classes? And what benefits it's giving? Why do you want to promote yoga? Why did you choose cycle? These are the normal questions I used to get. And especially for females, like, they used to be like, for the safety, how do you manage your safety? Is there any possibility that you met with anything like which is unacceptable? Or second, how do you manage your periods? All these questions I used to get a lot. And I was so amazed, like, people are really excited about all these questions. For 3 months I was traveling, I was managing all these things, and I never had any situation where I had to deal with circumstances or people around me who were toxic or who were not supportive. I felt really, when female travel here in India, we are supported with by so many people around. In few of the places, people just called me. They never charged me in hotels and all. They say like, okay, Agrima, just have food and go on. Go, just go without. And most of the people don't even charge me. Even there are tea stalls, and whenever we get into there to eat some snacks or something, they hardly get 10 to 20 rupees. But still, they will say that no, I don't want to charge. Let me be a part of it. I do not want to charge for this. So that's how it was when I started from Kerala, and few incident happened. Like there were so many people who were who just paid for me without my knowledge. They said like, okay, this much at least we could do for you. And then from there, when I started, like around after 4 or 5 days, it started heavily raining. So throughout Kerala, Karnataka, Goa, and Maharashtra, it was full rain. Like from morning till night, it was raining heavily. And in Karnataka, it was red alert. So the water comes up to the knee almost, and I have to ride in that. And for the whole day, my things will be wet, my clothes will be wet, and my body will be completely wet. And my skin shrinks at the like when I get into my home or wherever I'm staying on those days at the night. So what happens after that? Whenever we are moving from this roads here, this truck drivers, cars, and everything splashes all the dirt, all the soil, water on us, and it starts itching. And somehow I control it, and till night I used to ride. And night or evening, I never ride after 8 o'clock in the evening. So once I get into somewhere, I immediately go and wash off everything and put under the fan so that it can dry it up, and I can use it on the next day. Once I crossed Ajmer, that is a place in Rajasthan, it was too hot. It was too hot in the sense like it was almost 48-degree above. So from rain, I directly entered into a very high temperature. And because of this temperature, the dehydration started. So the dehydration was so heavy, like I could not ride almost from 10 o'clock till evening, like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, because it will be too hot and I'll be searching for water all the time. But very good thing in Rajasthan is wherever you go, you will find out the pots kept under the trees or somewhere, like you can always get water. So that's the best part of Rajasthan in India. And even throughout the route also, wherever you can get into a random house and you ask for water, everybody will provide you water. So that was the best part. I was traveling from rain, I entered into a very high temperature, and when I crossed Punjab, I entered into directly to 5 degrees Celsius. In Himachal, it was 5 degrees Celsius. And from Manali to Ladakh, I took almost like 10 days I was traveling, and it was almost minus 30. So it was like every weather I got into. And from rain, it was wind, and then it was very hot, and then it was extremely cold for me. Like within this 3 months, a huge difference of temperature I had to face. And every time the food, like the food is really good. Everywhere, wherever I went, people provided very good food to me. And the only problem I had with the food was after Manali, because you will hardly get food there because of the cold. There is no harvesting, and also agriculture you will get within that 6 months of during the summer. So I never had a problem with food till Manali, and after that I was struggling a lot. And once I crossed Manali, the beautiful landscapes of Manali to Ladakh, like in 30 kilometers, we get a lot of different landscapes, different sky. Like in night, we can see the sky without having any pollution. There is no light pollution, there is no noise pollution, there is no other pollution. So we can see the sky, and because of the high altitude, the sky is very nearby us. So the whole Milky Way, the shooting stars, and those things we can experience in the night, and you'll be so alone. I was so alone in this way. There was no vehicle, there is no lights, there are only mountains, and you will not get any kind of water even there, and there is no sound. I was all alone, like, and there are no people around, especially from Manali to Ladakh. You will get like, well, there are very hardly few villages in 70 kilometers, sometimes in 50 kilometers, sometimes like it's 80 kilometers as well. So you will not get any population around. That's the biggest thing when crossing from Manali. So that time, the temperature goes down all of a sudden. I didn't have any sweater or anything, nothing. I got hypothermia at a point where I felt like, yeah, this is the time I'm going to die. And snow falls, too much of snow falls, and the wind was very high. That at a point after crossing, there is a place called as Tanglangla. That is another peak. So at that peak, I felt like, while coming down, I could not apply brakes because it was completely it happened to be hypothermia. I could not hold my brakes. It was like a little bit I slide down, I'm gone. One day while crossing from Atal Tunnel to Sisu, there is a place called as Sisu, which was totally like, there were no light, and it was almost like 9 o'clock in the night. In Ladakh, it's like, what for us it's midnight here, like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. It's like it's the peak night. So in the same way in Ladakh, 9:30 or 10 o'clock is like middle of the night. So there were no people around, there were nothing. So there was a lorry or truck coming from my backside. I asked that fellow, like, I asked the driver, Bhaiya, can you please show me the light so that I can just ride faster and move to the next village? So he was like, okay, sure. He helped me. The very next moment, he said, chalega, no problem. You can just go. I'll show you the way. And that night, when I entered into the village, I felt like, if he wouldn't have been there, I could not move further. That's how my condition was. Then again, one more incident happened in, there is a place called as Ghata Loop, which is almost 21 loops. And it's, nobody was there. There is no water around. And I got stuck at 6 o'clock there. And I thought like, okay, I'll keep walking and I'll reach some village, but there were no village around. So at 6 o'clock, one guy passed through me, and he just asked me like, should I give you a lift or anything? I said, no, I want to ride. He said, okay, fine. He gave me some water and he just moved. By 7:30, he came back. All the way he came back and he asked me, if you are going like this, you will die because the temperature is already down and you don't, I didn't carry any tent or anything. So he said like, you won't be able to reach anywhere because I just came back after 20 kilometers and there is nothing, and you will get stuck and you will die here. So better you stop here and get inside the car, stay here for the night. Morning you can go. I did the same. I kept my cycle there. I got inside his car. He has put some. He has put on his heater, and we stayed there for the night. Next morning, I started from there. So there are a lot of experience which taught me like, people are more helpful to us now also, because the vision we have about the world or India, it's very different for us. It's more of the crime, it's more of something else. So I feel like people have that traditional values and spirituality in them where they really want to help people by their own. So people really helped me out, and finally I reached Leh. And from Leh to Khardungla was the biggest peak, is the motorable pass, the highest motorable pass it was. And it's almost 18,500 feet approx. So I reached there. From Leh to Khardungla, it took almost 3 days. I was walking because it was very difficult for me to ride on the peaks. So what I used to do is I used to carry and push my cycle, and I used to travel all the way to the peak. So it took me 3 days to reach Khardungla, and then after reaching Khardungla, I just came down by hitchhiking, you can say, because I took a lot of lorry and trucks, and then I took train and I came back. I packed my cycle. I could not ride back because it was almost 4 months. Once I reached Ladakh, I stayed with my Lama friends, with their family. I explored Ladakh a lot, and then I came back. I taught so many people because most of the monks, they were suffering from a lot of sciatica problems, and they are suffering with a lot of back pain, especially the huge problem, especially their diet. It contains a lot of refined wheat and all. So I had to teach them, I had to change a lot of food patterns in them, and they are more dependable on, because it's very cold area, they are more dependable on packeted foods like Maggies and all. So I had to change a little bit. I nothing but to push them a little bit into their traditional food, like thukpa and all they eat, and it's very healthy. So then I was with them. I got the chance to meet a lot of other gurus of uh, their monastery, in their monastery, and then I came back. So overall, I was able to teach, and I was able to attend, and a lot of people, a lot of kids, and a lot of other institutes, like a lot of different institutes like Indian Yoga Association, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Patanjali's one, then Art of Living, then Brahma Kumaris, and a lot of other institutes, Chinmaya Mission and Arogya Bharati. This different missions and different people helped me to make it till Ladakh. So it was almost impossible if they wouldn't have helped me. There were a lot of people and a lot of associations who helped me to reach there, and I could make it. So, and I hope, like, within 4 to 5 months, I'm planning for a worldwide trip as well, and I would be able to make it. So let's open it for a question answers, because I could not see anyone, and I hope like I would be able to answer my experience more if anybody would love to ask me a few things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so, so lovely to listen to and so inspiring. And, I completely agree with what you said, Agrima, about how we have certain notions and preconceived ideas about the world without really experiencing it, and how India is changing. And it's so refreshing. And, as a woman to travel alone, it's just so incredible what you've done. So thank you for that lovely experience. And yeah, any of our participants, if you would like to ask her any questions, I mean, I'm so tempted to do something like this now on my own. Anyway, we usually they take a few minutes before asking the question. So while you're thinking of something for Agrima, I actually have a question. So how did you chart the route, and what were the things you kept in mind while doing that?
I didn't have any plan. I just had a plan to go from Kerala to Ladakh. So I just knew that I had to choose a Konkan road. That's all. That was in my mind, and I didn't chart anything. I didn't fix anything. It was all of a sudden it came to my mind. I took hardly 1 week to prepare for everything. I was like, I was not even able. I was not even preparing for it. I told my brother, like, I just need a bicycle and I'm just going. So he was like, where do you want to go? I said Ladakh. So he said, no, I'll buy you a new cycle so that you can travel. And then I planned, okay, even, a lot of people were asking me which route you are going to choose and all those things. So I was just moving. I was not even fixing the which route I should choose, because there are a lot of choose. I just randomly chose coastal area. So I was traveling throughout the coastal area, and I didn't plan, because there are a lot of routes which you can explore, but I just wanted to explore every route of Konkan pathway. So because I have heard like it's a very beautiful path, it's very, very beautiful way to travel this ghat area in the Maharashtra and all. So I just randomly took it and I started moving, and I just kept moving. Today I fixed like how much kilometer I need to go tomorrow. So it was not pre-planned. The places and the distance also I used to decide earlier, like one day before. That's how it was. And about my preparation, I took some of my like the extra tubes for my cycle, and some of my kits for cycle, and I had some few raincoat and one of the temperature like UV radiation protector, one overcoat. That's it. So I would love to show you a few images as well. So I would love to share a few of my images, which I took. This was my journey. So when I started my journey, I used to meet a lot of kids in the schools. So these are the kids who used to get very curious, like they had a lot of questions, and these are the images I took when I was teaching, taken when I was teaching yoga to different parts of the Ahmedabad. It was in Ahmedabad. So I was teaching a community of homeopathic doctor in there. So this was images taken there. And the first images it was taken in Kerala itself. And this is Islam community I was taking yoga classes for. And they were like especially these people, they don't approach yoga much because they feel like it's a religious thing. But these kids were so curious to know about yoga, to know about my journey, and they were so excited about it. And this is the community whom I met in Maharashtra. And it was like during August, and this was the day when I was celebrating Friendship Day as well. So these kids, they have tied up all the friendship band in my hand, and they were like so happy to do that. So this happened in Maharashtra. This was the talk I have given in Rajasthan, Udaipur, in a college of engineering, where I had taken a topic on impact of yoga on brain and body, because my basic subject was in neuro. And then I started with yoga. So I connected both neurons and yoga and a lot of psychiatric problems. And I used to talk about it a lot. So I took the whole topic on brain and body. And this is where I stay, and all of the people gather around, and they used to have a lot of questions. This is during the night. They used to come to me and they used to ask me a lot of questions. They used to sit with me for the whole night almost, and they used to have a lot of queries. This is another school. This was in Gujarat. And this is a Gurukul, and the kids joining me over there. This is in Goa, where they had a celebration also to plant a tree. And these people were distributing, there was an NGO working with them. These people were distributing a lot of plants. And these people were also very curious to know so many things, especially the girls. And in Rajasthan, there was incidents, because this is the school in Rajasthan again. So in Rajasthan, females are not allowed to even, kids cannot even think to go out of the house. So one of the kids, she just came to me and she asked like, Didi, nobody came with you? I said, no. Your mom allowed? It was so innocent question from her. Your mom allowed? I said, yes. She didn't come with you? I said, no. So like, this was the question they were thinking, like, because it's so there, especially the females, they cannot even think about going to a school also. In that situation, they were so curious to know that I'm on a journey from south to north. So this happened in Rajasthan. And these are the families. There are a lot of families who used to give a sent off in the morning like this to me. They used to gather around, they used to call everyone, and that's how they used to send me from their home. And there are a lot of women's NGOs, and this has happened in Surat again. These are the women's entrepreneurs who are working towards the women empowerment. They came, they spoke to me, they took classes from me, like for their health, and how can they practice yoga, how can they implement yoga in their life. So this was the talk I have given there. And this is a school which we call as Vanvasi Kalyan. So here also the kids are from tribal area, and they suffer a lot again because this people, they don't have money, they don't have food, they don't have anything. I got to be with them, I stayed with them. They gave me a lot of rakhi is something which we tie on hands for our brothers, and I tied for them throughout my way. And people offered me quite a lot of different food from different places. And we this is a typical Rajasthani food with all the dishes from Rajasthan, a very healthy plate of Rajasthani food. And this is when I entered into snow for the first time, when I entered into the Ladakh. So it was full snow when they basically clear out the roads, and when they clear out, we will be able to ride through it. If not, we'll be blocked, we have to stay there, maybe we get stuck for a few days also. But it was a great, my luck was very much active there. I was never, I never got stuck anywhere. And this was a place I got stuck again at the night. There were no people around, and I traveled all the way from down. It's like a round loop kind of structure in Ladakh. We have to travel from down to up, and there will not be any people around. We will be so alone and peaceful. And this is the day I reached Khardungla, and it's like 17,982, and we have some steps also, which makes it 18,000 feet. And I was so happy to reach there and make a world record, as I was the first solo traveler from India to travel this long. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you can ask.
Hi, yeah, so that was lovely. Thank you so much for sharing your photos with us. It all looks so beautiful. I think we can stop screen sharing though.
Yeah, sure. Can you please do it? Because, yeah.
Koti ji? Okay, we have three questions actually. The first question is from Durga ji, who's asking. She says it was wonderful to hear your experience, and she's very proud of our fellow Indians. She's asking if you ever felt hopeless or any such feeling on your journey, and if you ever thought of calling off your journey, and then what motivated you to move forward. And she says it's very inspiring to listen to your journey, and she wishes you many more such success stories.
Thank you so much for wishing me. And I never got demotivated because my inspiration was the people I met. Each and every day, I met a lot of people on my way, a lot of kids on my way. The way they give me motivation, it's like they give me one day motivation, it'll work for another 5 days, 6 days. That's how it was. But the motivation and the inspiration and the brightness I see in their eyes, that motivated me a lot. Like, even I never imagined the way they were feeling, like, oh, you are doing a great thing, it's so exciting. We only think about it, we will never be able to do it. That's how they give response. But I never thought it's a big deal. But yes, at a point, due to some weather situation, like as I was talking in Sisu and in after Tanglanga, I really felt like it's very difficult for me to move further. So, and because it was too much of temperature drop, and it was like minus, and at that moment I wore my raincoat, and only my this portion, my face portion was out. And people were like, the vehicle were they people were going around, but nobody stopped. At that time, I felt like, when people recognize you as a female, how much they're helping. But the moment they feel like it's not a female, nobody is stopping even. That time I realized people are very partial. It's actually partial towards the female. So that was the only moment I felt like I may die today because of the temperature drop. Otherwise, never. I was like moving. I never felt like I should stop. After finishing Khardungla, I really want to do more. That's how it is. Thank you for asking.
Thank you so much. I hope that answers your question. Then we have Bhagwati Subramaniam ji, who's asking if you came across any Indian Army personnel, how was the experience and how helpful were they? And did you teach anyone in the Army yoga?
Okay. So I came across when I was in Zing Bar. There is a place called a Zing Bar. So it was a very fine morning. I got up, I was brushing my teeth. All of a sudden, one army person, like how do they move in Ladakh is like lot of vehicles together, like 20 to 30 vehicles together. So the first vehicle stopped, one person came out. He was like, okay, he was looking at my bicycle and he came to me and he asked, "You are traveling from Cochin, Kerala?" I said, "Yes." Okay. So I'm Major Deepak. He has written his name and his phone number. Okay, you go to Sarchu, you go to Pang, you will get a stay there. Okay, I'm just calling the OC over there and you can stay today and tomorrow there. So when I was crossing Sarchu, I was able to stay there. It's like heaven. When you get into army camps in Ladakh, it's a heaven there because you get it's the most warm place. You only get the best food there. You will get supportive people there. You will get hot water there. So it's like a heaven over there. So I got to stay in two places, that is in Pang and in Sarchu, in military camps. Yes. And I when I started, our general VK Singh sir gave me flag and he was very supportive. So in this way, I got a lot of support from military side as well. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Subramaniam ji. I hope that answers your question. Our next question comes from Venkat KG, who's saying it's absolutely wonderful and thanks for narrating your experiences. It gives him motivation for many people to take up the journey and experience the diverse culture of our country. His question is, did you suffer from common problems like fever, cold, a cough, etc.? And how did you manage your health? And how do you think what tips would you give to people who want to take up this journey? I suppose he's talking with regard to health.
Okay. So I never had any problem with my health. And the major thing, because I never missed my yoga even for a single day. So I never had a cold. I never had a fever. The max of it is I used to take rest for a single day when I'm so tired, like I might be riding for like 7 to 8 days continuously. Then I'll take a break. I'll take rest for a day and then I'll start on the next day. Other than that, even after having a full day rain, after heavy cold, after heavy, like it was to the extreme weather of heat, I never got any kind of fever or any kind of problem. Only during the first few days, like 4 to 5 days when I started my journey, I had a back pain and I had a body pain altogether, especially the hip part, because it's very terrible to ride like for 6 to 8 hours and then you won't get you will have a lot of problem with your body. But it was only for 5 to 6 days, and in the beginning my health was like I had a when I started from home I had a cold, but after that I never had anything, no cold, no fever, nothing. And I think it is because of the practicing of pranayama regularly. I never missed my asana, pranayama, and meditation. I never used to miss it. So throughout my journey, I practice it. Yeah. And yeah, tips. I want to give you, I wanted to talk about the major tip, which is don't choose the weather which I chose, because when I started in June, I purposefully choose it because it was International Yoga Day. If somebody want to travel, please do not choose during the June or something from south. because the June, July is the best to start from Ladakh, and never enter to Ladakh after September, at least in September. Like always enter into Ladakh before August, because that is the best time you can escape from the heavy, extreme cold. And it will be very heavy, rainy in the southern places. So don't ride during the August or June, July, August. So, and please skip the part of being in like April, May, June, in especially the northern area of Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, because it's very hot. So we can go like in November, December, we can travel in Rajasthan area. June, July, we can travel in Ladakh, or after that on the cold time, like November to January or February, we can actually cover the southern places. That's the best time to cover the southern places. So that's my personal suggestion. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have one last question from Vivek ji, who's saying, how did you decide who to meet and all the meetings in the different cities? Were they pre-decided?
Okay. So it was not decided. It was never decided, because I never knew that on what date and what time I am going to even reach at a particular place. So normally when people connect me with different associations, like normally when I started, Indian Yoga Association helped me a lot, and they were connecting me with people, and sometimes with the family I stay with, they used to connect me with the next person. So my stays and all, it was never fixed with time. I always used to decide it like 1 day or 2 days before. So whenever I used to travel, normally what people do is they connect me with the schools around. They talk immediately. So it was, the program was always in a short notice. So they used to fix it like in a few hours also. There were times they just decided in 1 hour or something. So that's how it was. So I used to travel in that way. So it was never prefixed, but yes, in 2 or 1 days it was fixed. Lot of other associations like Indian Yoga Association, Aroga Bharati, Patanjali, and these people used to fix, they used to connect me with a lot of schools and colleges and people around. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We don't seem to have any more questions. So before we make any announcements, can you share your contact details with us if anyone would like to get in touch with you or has any questions, etc., that they can ask later? And Kotiji, will you please put that in the chat box for everyone?
Yeah. So sure. So you can always contact me in my mail ID, that is agrimanair@gmail.com. It's simple, and I can put it into the chat box as well. So this is my email ID.
Kotiji, can you share that with everyone, please? Thank you so much. And we have one more question from Venkatji, who's asking if you had any spiritual experience along the way.
Okay, so basically I had a lot of spiritual experiences throughout from my childhood, basically, because my father, my dad was a spiritual person, so he practices meditation a lot, and he always taught me from the beginning, from my childhood, like what is a path or how to be a spiritual person. So the internal experience I do not want to share here, but then yes, of course I want to tell few things, like, I never I had to see throughout my way, I never had to see even a single accident. I never got into a situation where I was fearful. Thousands of lorries, trucks, and buses were crossing me. Not even a single thing touched me. I was going through in nights in Ladakh, because the next day when I was looking at some maps, I saw like there are a lot of snow leopards, foxes, tigers around. the way I came throughout. I never got to see anything. When I was traveling, few people warned me that there are a lot of dogs around. So be careful, just carry a stick or something because they may attack you. And I had a lot of dogs accompanying me in the way. Like one of the dog even traveled for 56 kilometers with me throughout the way. And when I reached there by night, it dropped me. I got into that day I was staying in a PG. I got into the PG and then it left. I didn't see it from the next day. But the point is, anything could happen within the fraction of second. In one moment, the temperature dropped that much that I was not able to survive. Like I was jumping, I got down off my cycle and I started jumping, so my temperature should increase. I thought like that day I may die because it was unbearable. And one day what happened, a lorry crossed me and its tire just busted, and it was like 50 meters away from me and it just busted. I just thought if it would happen just 30 seconds back, I would have gone, because left side it was Manali, and this happened in Manali, and left side it was steep, like it was too steep, and there is no, there is no boundaries in Manali and Ladakh. It's totally open. So all this happened not because of me. That's what I believe in. Anything could happen, and it might have taken some fractions of second. But yeah, I survived. So is this a spiritual reason? There are any spiritual reasons for it? Might be. I don't know. Yeah, thank you, Sophia.
Thank you so much. That's just so, I mean, it's beautiful. Your entire story is just so beautiful. For everyone who's watching, I'd just like to remind you that these sessions are recorded. So if you want to share Agrima's beautiful story with anyone or revisit, you can do so on the Indica Yoga website, as well as the Indica Yoga YouTube channel and our Facebook. And social media. So since we don't have any more questions, I'd just like to remind everyone that her Agrima's email address is in the chat for everyone if you need to get in touch with her. Just before we leave, we have a few announcements. Like, for example, please join us again next Friday for our next Yoga Insights session. Can we see the poster, Kotiji? So next week's session will be featuring Swamini Shraddhananda Saraswati. She'll be joining us all the way from the States and talking about living the path in 10 simple steps. She obviously means the path of yoga. Thank you so much for that poster. Before we leave, do you have any last message you'd like to share with our participants today?
Yeah. So I would like to thank everyone for joining me, listening to me for this long, and asking me, and again wishing me for a lot of things. And thank you so much for hearing me out. That's all, and supporting me.
Thank you so much. That was so lovely. And yes, everyone who's watching, I will see you again next week. And also a very happy new year to everybody. Our next Yoga Insight session will be in the new year. Happy holidays. Thank you so much, Agrima, for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful weekend, everyone. And I'll see all of you next week. Thank you.